Oh, so now Nigeria is suddenly the safest, calmest, most wonderfully polished nation for royal tours. Now it's all smiles, cultural pride, vibrant communities and glowing press coverage. Because Prince Edward stepped off the plane. Really? Really? Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales, where we expose royal double standards the way the British press exposes its own insecurities, loudly, accidentally, and with absolutely no self-awareness. So sit tight, grab a cup of tea, or better yet, grab whatever medication the tabloids clearly forgot to take, because we're diving into one of the most shameless media flip-flops of the year. Remember when Meghan and Harry visited Nigeria? The headlines practically screamed like toddlers denied a biscuit. Nigeria too dangerous. Security nightmare for Sussexes. Reckless move. Geopolitical risk. The British press was acting like Harry and Meghan were trekking into a war zone, wearing flip-flops and optimism. They wrote as if the couple would be dodging explosions, wrestling insurgents and delivering speeches while sprinting for their lives. The tabloids painted Nigeria as some apocalyptic backdrop. Chaos in high definition, all because Harry and Meghan chose to strengthen ties with the country. Because apparently when the Sussexes show up anywhere outside of Buckingham Palace's approved list, the British press turns into CNN during a breaking news crisis. Fast forward to today. Prince Edward lands in Nigeria, strolls out looking like he's arriving at a garden party in Surrey, and suddenly the UK media becomes the Nigerian Tourism Board. Prince Edward warmly welcomed. A vibrant, stable nation ready for diplomatic engagement. Beautiful trip. Wonderful meetings. Look at Nigeria's youth dynamic leadership. Excuse me? Where were all these compliments when Meghan, a woman of African heritage, walked on that same soil? Oh, right. The royal PR script says, when Meghan breathes, problem. When Edward does the exact same thing, historic diplomatic engagement. The hypocrisy is so loud it deserves its own marching band. Now, here's the punchline. Edward's trip is literally a copy and paste of Harry and Meghan's. Youth leadership, education, cultural connection, community empowerment. Basically, the exact same themes Meghan and Harry highlighted. The difference? When the Sussexes focused on these topics, the media screamed, they're overshadowing the royals. They're interfering in foreign policy. It's all PR. But when Edward does it? Oh wow, what a dedicated royal. So elegant, so diplomatic. He's reaffirming Commonwealth ties. Translation. The problem was never Nigeria. The problem was never security. The problem was never politics. The problem was Harry and Meghan, daring to exist, daring to fly, daring to succeed. Here's where it gets even more embarrassing. Global political figures, some tied to the Trump orbit, amplified claims that a genocide was happening in Nigeria. Nicki Minaj even repeated it at the United Nations. These claims were sensational, unverified, and strongly rejected by Nigerian experts and citizens. Yet even then, even with those dramatic global headlines, the British press didn't blink. They didn't ask, should Prince Edward go? Is this safe? Is this politically risky? Nothing. Not a whisper. But Meghan wears a sleeveless dress in 2018, and they write think pieces about royal protocol violations and global instability. Make it make sense. Oh wait, it does make sense. Because there's no outrage unless the outrage helps them drag Harry and Meghan. Edward could walk blindfolded into a fireworks factory, and the tabloids would call it courageous service. Nigeria didn't suddenly become safer when Edward arrived. Nigeria didn't magically change overnight. What changed is the face in the photographs. When the visitor aligns with the palace's preferences, the media becomes soft, gentle, diplomatic. When the visitor is Meghan or Harry, the press morphs into a pack of political analysts, disaster reporters, and armchair security experts. The inconsistency is the point. It reveals the UK media's real obsession: personalities over facts, bias over reality, clickbait over truth. Edward's trip shows the power of narrative manipulation. The panic around the Sussexes was never about Nigeria. It was about controlling the Sussexes. Edward is protected by the institution. Harry and Meghan aren't, so the media uses them as their emotional punching bag. So here's the truth bomb. If Nigeria were truly as dangerous as the tabloids claimed during the Sussex visit, Prince Edward wouldn't be there, eating jollof rice, shaking hands, smiling for cameras, and attending youth events for 9 whole days. The press didn't soften their language because the country changed. They softened it because the royal changed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you recognize a propaganda game dressed up as journalism. The hypocrisy is clear. For one couple, Nigeria is dangerous. For another, delightful. For one, a visit is a stunt. For another, a duty. This isn't objective reporting, it's narrative construction. The public deserves better. We must watch, question and call out double standards. The story of these tours is a lesson in media bias. Prince Edward's trip didn't expose Nigeria. It exposed the British press again. Their double standards, their hypocrisy, their obsession with policing Harry and Meghan's every move. Nigeria stayed the same. The story changed depending on who stepped out of the plane. But don't worry, here at Meghan and Harry Tales, we'll keep calling out the nonsense, the spin, and the royal-approved fairy tales until the truth finally gets its crown. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, we are just getting started. It must be spoken, heard and remembered. The story isn't over.